Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We're going to go back to the early 40s, back to December 22nd, 1942, for an episode of Arch Oboler's Lights Out. This episode is entitled The Meteor Man, and as every Arch Oboler show goes, they're a little weird.
Ironized Yeast presents Lights Out. Everybody.
It is later than you think.
Lights Out brings you stories of the supernatural and the supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and the mysteries of the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginative plays, we urge you, calmly but sincerely, to turn off your radio now.
My name, Arch Oboler. Tonight, a story I enjoyed writing for you because, well, frightening as the thought may be, it could happen.
And furthermore, I might speak frankly, my dear Diane, the basic thing wrong with woman is her nose. Let's cut it off.
Russell Adams.
Then there's the matter of her ears. Look at them.
Well?
They're too obvious. Cut them off, too.
No nose, no ears. A fine art critic you turned out to be.
Oh, is this thing odd?
Russ Adams, I hate you. I think it's the best piece of sculpture I've ever done.
Egomaniac.
Oh, will you go away?
Not until I tell my wife how much I adore her. How about stopping the artistic endeavors for the night and romancing with the old man?
Any night.
Come on. Out on the veranda. There's a moon.
Spoken as Professor Russell J. Adams, instructor of astronomy at our beloved university.
I don't know a single scientific fact about this moon. It's a special satellite built entirely for romance.
Then it's a date.
After you, fair Diane? Why do you laugh?
Just thinking it's a good thing we haven't any neighbors, or they'd think we were honeymooning.
10 years and 2 more weeks.
Sweet.
Why?
For remembering.
Why the sigh?
Oh, it's such a lovely night.
Yes. You're very lovely with the moonlight in your hair.
Darling.
335 days out of the year, moonlight to me is just a reflected light of the sun. A light interesting only that it may be analyzed spectroscopically. But these 30 days of our vacation, Diane. Oh, what a magical change. It's a soft lover's moon hanging in the heavens only to brighten your loveliness.
Oh, and people wonder why I can't get excited about Ronald Coleman.
Coleman? Who's he?
Spoken like a true professor. He's a motion picture star. An absolute paragon of romance.
Oh, well, perhaps I shouldn't neglect my movie-going. Oh, so much I mean, with such paragons to teach one.
You do all right. Oh, Russell.
What's the matter?
I saw the brightest shooting star.
Is that all? The way you gasp, I thought you saw the angel of death himself galloping over those meadows.
There's another one. Look, Russell.
My dear, for 11 months out of the year, the heavens have my full and undivided attention. Oh, but during this blessed month, let the heavens fall. I can't be bothered.
I never saw such bright shooting stars.
Yes, and another thing, my dear. As the wife of an accredited professor of astronomy, I think it no more than fitting that you give the phenomena that you observed its proper name, namely the fall of a meteor.
There's another one. And another. Oh, Russ, how bright and beautiful.
They travel at such a tremendous rate, the friction of our atmosphere burns them into a fiery vapor.
There's more of them. Look, one after the other. I've never seen so many shooting stars.
Uh-uh.
I mean so many meteors in all my life. Oh, Oh, so that's why you wanted me out here. You knew about this meteor shower, didn't you?
It's one of heaven's free spectacles in this constellation. Every 3 years, and this happens to be the 3rd year.
How frightening.
Why frightening?
Those great masses of stone and iron coming from who knows where in interstellar space, traveling millions and millions of miles and then going up in such glorious flame just as they reach the end of their journey.
Not all goes to flame. Hundreds of them strike the earth each year.
Well, Russell, there's no danger.
Oh, no. The probabilities of being struck on the head by that cosmic rubbish is about 1,000 times more remote than winning a sweepstake without buying a ticket.
Oh, look. That one. The brightest of all.
Wait, Diane. What's that?
I don't know. Something from
Look
the
up.
sky. It's shooting star.
Look out, Diane!
Right.
All right, dear. Everything's all right.
What? How?
A meteor. It must have landed out in the field there. Here, let me help you. You all right, dearest?
Yes, I'm all right. Russ, where are you going?
Out there, where it must have buried itself. Wait here. I'll be right back.
No, I'm going with you.
All right, if you want to. Oh, Diane, what an experience we've had. The one chance in a million I spoke about almost occurred to us.
But Russ, was it really a shooting star? That explosion like a bombshell?
A bombshell of the universe.
What will we find out there?
A fragment of the meteorite, I
But
hope.
it'll burn.
No. All of its heat will have been dissipated. Then again, it may have exploded into 1,000 minute pieces. I pray to heaven that it hasn't.
I'm afraid.
No. The danger's all over. Here. The moon's so bright. If any of the mass landed, I should be able to find the torn ground where it smashed through the turf.
Oh, please, darling, let's wait until morning.
No, I must find the thing at once. The moon gives plenty of light. From the brightness of the flash, I'm positive that the meteor landed someplace right in here. I'll tell you. Look.
What?
The turf, all torn up. This is the place.
Russell, are you mad? Get up off the ground.
Right here. It must have struck a glancing blow off the brow of the ridge. I've got it.
What?
A fragment of it. Still warm. See? No larger than a baseball. All that was left of it.
That's a meteor.
A meteorite. All that's left of the meteor that burned and exploded. What a find.
Drop it, Russ.
What are you talking
Throw
about?
it away.
Come back to the house.
What are you going to do with it?
Diane, what's the matter with you? Your face.
I don't know. Somehow I'm afraid for all of us.
Afraid? Good heavens, my dear. There's nothing dangerous about this. A mass metal that's 90% iron. Why, it's as harmless as any inert piece of metal. Come to the study. I'll show you where the rush of air against the incandescent
Russ,
metal.
wait.
Huh?
Someone's crying.
Yes.
I'll go and see. It's Helga. Oh, Helga, you poor thing. We forgot all about you.
Oh, Mrs. Adams, it was exploding.
Now, everything's all right, Helga.
What's going on, Diane?
Oh, poor Helga. The explosion frightened her out of her wits.
Oh, Mr. Professor Adams, we die. We all die.
Don't be a
the
fool.
fire, it come from the sky. It kill us. It kill you and me and everybody. We die. Everybody die.
Stop it. For heaven's sake, stop that.
From the sky.
Take care of her, Diane. Give her a sedative or something.
All right, Russell. All right now, Helga. Everything's all right. Don't frighten.
I'm going to get at this meteorite, so please quiet the dumb fool down as quickly as you can.
All right, Russ.
Superstitious idiot. Simple phenomena, and she thinks the world's ending. Simple little meteorite. Iron, bit of nickel content. Nothing particularly unusual. Oh, Diane, quiet her down, will you?
Yes. She'll be all right.
You look a little rocky yourself. Here, sit here.
She's very frightened.
Yeah, and even you, Diane.
Well,
You've acted so strangely, as if this inert piece of cosmic metal could cause some supernatural ability.
what are you going to do with it?
Nothing. Examine it. Here, I'll take some of this nitric acid. Where's that bottle? There we are. Now watch closely, and I'll show you that the stone consists of ordinary elements. Iron.
Russell.
What?
This mark on it. How strange.
Yeah. Funny I hadn't noticed it before.
Circles the entire stone.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised that a blow right here would break it in half. Yes, I think I'll try to do that.
No, Russ. Leave it alone.
Good heavens, Diane. Nothing but a stone. All I'm going to do is try and break it along this fissure. See, I had a hammer. Yeah. What if the stone break? Almost solid metal. I'll try. By George, it did. Clean in half. What?
Look. What's inside?
Flesh.
Oh, Russ, how?
Negative gray protoplasmic. No, it can't be. It can't. This is a meteor. It came from out there. There is no flesh. Nothing could live.
Russ, look.
Huh?
It's growing.
Growing?
Ladies and gentlemen, a shooting star flashes out of the sky and falls to Earth. And in it, something living from out of interstellar space. Yes. If this is the time to take a breath before going on with tonight's Lights Out play, the story of Professor Adams and his wife and the thing from out beyond our world.
And we'll take a big, deep breath. December 22nd, 1942, Lights Out on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
And here's the cinnamon bear.
The oldest known children's Christmas cereal in radio history, the Cinnamon Bear, featuring some of the most popular actors in radio history, including Elliot Lewis, Joseph Kearns, Verna Felton, Lou Merrill, Frank Nelson, Howard McNear, and child actress Barbara Jean Wong. 85 years later, this series of Judy and Jimmy traveling to Maybeland to recover their silver stars still fascinates youngsters of all ages. Now we're offering the entire 26-episode series of The Cinnamon Bear via download for a Buy Me a Coffee donation of $10 or more at classicradio.stream. Support Classic Radio Theater and have The Cinnamon Bear for your family to enjoy for years to come. Go to classicradio.stream and donate $10 or more, and I'll send you a link for immediate download. classicradio.stream. Now let's get back to the story about the Meteor Man, an episode of Arch Oboler's Lights Out from December 22nd, 1942.
A meteorite had fallen, and Professor Adams had broken it open, and there was a gray nugget of flesh inside, which, even as the professor and his wife stood watching, began to grow.
Faster and faster. Gray flesh. Growing. Oh, Russ, I'm afraid.
No, Diane. No. Wait. Control yourself. This is something we've got to see, both of us, calmly, so we can tell others clearly what we saw.
I'll try. Oh, Russ, keep your arm around me.
Larger and larger. Listen, the noise as it grows.
I hear it. When will it stop? When?
Look. Look.
I can't. That horrible gray flesh.
But you must see it. Look. It's forming into something.
What?
A head. It's forming into a head.
Oh!
How can it be, Diane? Flesh in a meteor growing into a head.
I see it. A head. Horrible head.
Diane, you heard.
Yes.
The head without body speaking.
Yes, speaking.
Russell.
You hear and understand me.
Thick-lipped. Laughing.
I laugh at the fear and wonder in your simple little faces.
Who are you? What are you?
If I told you, would your little earthbinds understand?
Tell us, whatever you are. Tell us what you are.
What you on earth will soon have for masters.
No, wait, Diane. I must know. You thing... what can I call you? Tell me what you mean, you... masters.
Surely you simple little men do not think that in you creation has reached the ultimate.
No. Gray flesh talking. I'm getting out.
You will stay.
Russ, I can't move.
Nor I.
You cannot move.
Who are you? Tell us, who are you?
You saw how I came.
A tiny bit of protoplasm in that meteorite?
So I willed myself to be, to reach your earth.
You came here in that? Through space?
Through space beyond your furthest conception. Earth thing. Many of my people have tried. I am the first to succeed.
Then meteors are
the means we have used to try and reach this haven of plenty. I am the first. Now there will be others.
No. You're from another planet?
An old world. Old beyond your understanding. A world grown cold in its age. Empty with passing years. We must escape to a young, fertile world. This world.
But you're only heads. Heads without bodies.
Oh, Russ, I'm so afraid.
No, please. I must hear him speak. This that is happening to us is a miracle of all times. Tell me, you there, are you only heads in that world you speak of?
Heads. You see what I will you to see.
But what are you?
A mind and a will beyond your feeble understanding. As far above you as you are above the apes that still must crawl in your jungle.
But how can it be that you speak as I speak and understand what I say?
Your prattling wearies me, but I tell you this. All that you say, I know. The most profound thought any of you earth things have ever thought is to me as the babbling of children. But now I am hungry. You understand that, little thing.
Hungry?
Hungry?
Hungry with a hunger that has driven me over space without ending. Hunger that has brought me here.
But what do you eat?
You will know.
What do you mean?
What food could there be here to fill the hunger of such as I? Hunger that would make me entomb myself in metal, flung into space in a hope that chance would bring me through the fire of that air of yours. What food? A thing.
I don't know. Tell me.
Come closer. A thing.
Oh, no.
And why, oh, no, a thing.
You don't... Human?
Human. You think you crawling worms are human to us.
But if you're man...
But we are not men. You are the cattle, and we are the keepers.
Oh.
You raise the cattle for life, and we for centuries have raised such as you on our world for life. But now, as I told you, our world has grown too old and too cold. The herds of you die, and we grow hungry. That is why I am here. We need new cattle. Here there are so many of you. Earth woman.
Russell, it spoke to me.
We've got to get out of here.
Earth woman.
No. Stop it. Don't look at me. Stop it.
Come closer.
Don't listen to him, Diane.
Closer.
No. Don't move, Diane. Stay where you are. Stay right there.
You hear only me, Earth woman.
Only you.
No, Diane. No. Don't say that. Don't look at that monster, Diane.
Closer, Diane.
Yes.
No.
Closer.
No, Diane. Stand still. Don't move toward it. Don't.
Closer.
No.
Diane.
Closer.
Monster. Not Diane. Diane, I beg of you, don't go closer to it.
Closer.
No.
Closer.
I'll kill you. If I could only get to you.
Closer.
Soon you will move to me as she is. Closer.
Diane.
Closer.
If I could move.
Closer.
Diane.
Closer.
I've got to find the way. The strength to stop him.
Closer.
Diane, you're almost... I've got to.
Closer.
That bottle. Nitric acid.
The Meteor Man, an episode of Arch Oboler's Lights Out from December 22nd, 1942. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Lights Out, The Meteor Man, December 22nd, 1942.
The bottle.
Closer.
Got it.
Closer.
Yes, close to you, monster. Take this. Pool of flesh. That's all. Diane, wake up. Open your eyes. I've killed the thing. I killed it.
Oh.
Diane, it's all right.
Russell.
I've killed it.
Oh.
Diane, look. Outside, it's still dark. Yes, the sky's still streaked with the rush of meteorites. And that thing said more of the monsters of his breed are trying to reach this earth, to feel that devil's hunger in them. Another meteorite is just there, and in it, perhaps... Oh, Diane, is that truly to be in for mankind?
Mr. Oboler, will the end of the world come that way?
Well, Frank, if you mean will the end for mankind come out of interstellar space in the form of a flying meteor, well, there are some mighty interesting theories along that line. The amazing thing about it, Frank, is that there are so many logical and thoroughly possible ways in which the entire tribe of mankind could be wiped off the earth at any moment. I'm not talking about famine or what's close to all of us, war. I mean other ways. A star moves into our darkness from somewhere out there in the blackness of interstellar space, and the pull of its presence might turn our spinning globe headlong into the sun. In a split second, all of mankind, all his building, his wonderful possessions, his precious little pile, would go up in a flash of fire. Or, out of the sun itself, the very source of our life, as we all know, could shoot a long stream of explosive flame that would curl around us, and again, well, so quickly that no man would know what had happened. In split seconds, this earth would be a charred, uninhabited spheroid. Yes, when one stops to think what a tiny little grain of sand this haughty world of ours actually is in the dark sea of space, and when one realizes how precarious little mankind's hold is on this earth, the spectacle of man's inhumanity to man becomes a cosmic joke.
Well, all of those things are certainly interesting to think about, Mr. Oboler, but tell us now what's going to happen next week.
Next week, balls trees. No, that's not a dance. It's a story of chance. That unpredictable chance that makes one man a saint and the next man a Hitler. The flip of a coin, the turn of a card, the bend of a road. I think you'll like what we have to offer you, but as usual, next week.
Lights Out will come to you again next Tuesday at this same time. Be sure to listen to Arch Oboler's weird story of Valse Triest.
It is later than you think.
December 22nd, 1942. Lights Out on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Nick Shurn Matter. This episode originally broadcast December 22nd, 1955.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar?
Mike O'Dare, Johnny. Any sign of Kathy?
No, the boys at the highway turnoff haven't seen her or Benny, either one. Not a soul out that way in the last hour.
What about there at the sawmill?
Nothing, Mike. No fresh tracks on the logging road, no sign of her. And the worst thing is it's starting to snow again.
Yeah, here in town, too. Dan Martin just phoned. No luck. She hasn't shown up at any of the roadblocks. She's around somewhere, and we've got to find her.
We will, Mike.
And it's got to be fast, Johnny. There's a blizzard coming up, and that gunman Benny Stark is around, too. Maybe he's already found her. Maybe he even took her from the house, her and Jill both. Maybe she didn't get scared and run. Maybe it was him. Maybe he's...
Mike, stop it. That kind of thinking's not going to help any.
Well, what is going to help?
I don't know, but I've got a half-baked idea, and I may be right. Stay there at the house. I'm coming back to pick you up. And one thing you can do while you're waiting.
What, Johnny?
Pray.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Branbury, Michigan, to the Home Office, Tri-Mutual Insurance Limited, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, the Nick Shurn Matter. Or more important, find Kathy O'Dare. Item 12 on expense account, $4.90. A tank full of gas for the county pickup I'd borrowed from Deputy Sheriff Dan Martin. The falling snow was thickening now, and the wind was rising and steadying in the northwest. The night had all the makings of a blizzard. And wherever Kathy and her daughter had gone, we had to find them before it hit. It was 10:14 p.m. when I pulled up at the side porch of the O'Dare house. Kathy's father came hurrying out to the truck, leaving the door open behind him and buttoning his heavy mackinaw as he ran. Any news, Mike?
Not a thing.
All right, get in. Shut the door.
Yeah, we'll get a foot of snow before morning, with a zero wind behind it.
Now listen, Mike. I think we can forget any idea that Benny found her and got her out of the house. In that case, she wouldn't have taken your car. He's already got one.
I know. I thought of that.
And he wouldn't have given her time to dress herself and Jill the way she did, with heavy clothes and snow boots. And she wouldn't have taken the rifle.
Then what has happened?
She knew I'd be there to talk to her sometime this evening. I think she lost her nerve, couldn't face it, decided to run again.
Maybe so, but where, Johnny?
That's what I want you to tell me.
What?
No, I don't mean you knew what she was going to do and where she was going to go or
Then
help
how do you think I can tell you?
Look, Kathy knew about the roadblocks Dan Martin set up to trap Benny Stark, knew where they were. So if she didn't want to be seen, then naturally she'd avoid them.
She couldn't. Not if she wanted to get away, take the highway to Flint or Detroit. She'd have to pass one of them at least.
But she hasn't passed any of them, so she's still in this area. And I don't think she ever meant to leave it.
But then...
Dan Martin said Kathy used to spend a lot of time in the woods when she was growing up. He said she knew every back trail in these hills, logging camps, trappers' cabins.
She did. She used to worry the dickens out of me the way she...
Yeah. Now, where would she go, Mike, if she wanted to hide out back in the hills somewhere?
There's a lot of places. Chippewa Canyon's one. 3 or 4 timber camps abandoned in the winter. Some cabins along the... No, she couldn't make it. There's a roadblock before you get to the turnoff there.
It's got to be someplace she could reach without being seen.
Well, there's Barker's Flats. But that's 12 miles of a foot trail. She wouldn't try it in this weather, not with Jill along anyway. Then there's Lake Pine. No, it's over the other way. Pine Lake Road.
Where's that?
Runs northwest of town. Not much better than a wagon road. Dan didn't put a block on it because it dead ends at the lake about 5 miles out.
What's out there?
Nothing at the lake. But you can go on up Pine Creek about 4 miles on foot, and there's some cabins. Maybe a waste of time, Johnny.
Let's get going. Expense account, item 13, $6.90. 1 dry cell electric lantern, an extra pair of batteries picked up at the Branbury Hardware Company on the way through town. The falling snow, driven by a bitter cold wind, formed a dense curtain in front of our headlights. And from the turnoff all the way up the narrow twisting road to Pine Lake, I had to keep the truck in second gear. There were car tracks in the road, all right, several of them. But they were covered now by the new blanket of snow, and it was impossible to tell whether they'd been made earlier tonight or a week ago.
The road ends a couple of yards past this next turn.
And we'll soon know.
There's 4 or 5 side turnoffs. Clearance where you can park. We'll have to check all of them, I guess.
All right.
That draw there on the right. That break there in the trees, that's where the Pine Creek Trail starts.
Well, we'll swing in it. Mike, I guess we won't have to check those turnoffs.
Huh?
Is that your car over there under the trees?
Yeah. That's it.
I left Mike waiting in the cab while I went over to look inside the car. It was empty, abandoned. And there was no note, no clue of any kind to tell where Kathy had gone. I raised the hood and felt the motor block, ice cold. The car had been here for some time. I flashed the lantern on the ground and followed the faint tracks made by 2 pairs of snow boots. They entered the deep draw that led back into the hills, the start of the Pine Creek Trail. I snapped off the lantern and stumbled through the snow back to the truck.
What'd you find, Johnny?
It's them, all right. They've headed up the trail. I found tracks in the snow.
Yeah, then we'd better get started.
No, wait. I'll go after them, Mike. You take the truck, go into town, find Dan Martin. Bring help as fast as you can. That storm's getting worse.
No, you don't. I know the risk. Starting up that trail with a blizzard coming on. And if you think you're going to protect me by sending
Knock
me
it
on...
off, Mike. There's no time, and you're wrong. I'm not protecting you. I'm protecting myself.
What do you mean?
That bum leg of yours. I don't want you on my hands, too, along with the girls.
All right, Johnny. I'll go after Dan.
And hurry, Mike. I'm depending on you.
Yeah. Good luck, Johnny.
See you, Mike. I stood there in the snow watching the headlights of the truck move away. Finally, they swung around the bend and disappeared. And I suddenly felt more alone than I ever had in my life. I'd gotten rid of Mike deliberately, sent him away on purpose, because I hadn't told him everything. I could see no point in tearing his heart out. There was another car parked on beyond Kathy's, nearly hidden by the trees. Jed Wharton's station wagon. The car that had been stolen by a killer named Benny Stark. It took me half an hour to cover the first mile, and the storm kept getting worse. The beam of the lantern penetrated a bare 30 feet ahead of me before it was smothered out in the white blackness of the night. After a few hundred yards, the tracks I was trying to follow had nearly disappeared. Snow were blotted out. I gave up looking for them and stuck to old Mike's description of the trail, following the left bank of the frozen creek. The drifts were deeper down along the creek bottoms, and the going was rougher. But I didn't dare leave it to look for better footing. It was my only landmark. The trail itself was buried. And any man who lost his way tonight and wandered off into one of those side gullies would wander straight to his death. An hour passed. Then an hour and a half, or 2 hours maybe. I lost all track of time and distance. The wind cut through my clothes, and the numbing cold crept into me deeper and deeper. Gradually, the walking, stumbling, breathing, even thinking became automatic and without feeling. The world itself seemed to narrow down to a tiny circle close around me. And all beyond was chaos, blackness, and roaring storm. I tripped over fallen logs and floundered back to my feet. dropped my lantern and recovered it. Broke through the crusted drifts and struggled for footing and kept on moving. In the weird nightmare of the blizzard, I could hardly recognize reality when I came face to face with it. When the beam from my lantern touched him, crouching by a tree a few yards away. I could barely accept him as being real. He'd been watching my light as I approached, waiting for me. It was Benny Stark with his gun leveled and aimed. Don't be a fool, Benny. Drop that gun. A curtain of snow swept between us then, blotting out the sight of him, and I was grateful. I turned and stumbled on into the storm, moving in pitch darkness now, except for the ghostly glow from the snow-covered ground. The second shot had smashed my lantern. I had nothing left to go by but instinct and luck, and they weren't enough. Within 15 minutes, I was hopelessly lost. That's when I started hearing the music. Miles from no place where there couldn't be any music, except inside my head. The cold and fatigue were finally doing their work. I knew the signs. The next step was to start wandering in circles, smaller and smaller ones, and the last step, to drop exhausted and go peacefully to sleep. Peacefully and permanently. But the sound kept growing louder, and I moved in the direction it seemed to be coming from. It couldn't be just illusions. It had to be real. Hello! Hello there! Then suddenly, only a few yards away, a brilliant blaze of light exploded from the darkness. And it seemed that a golden-haired girl was standing in the middle of it. And for a moment, my sanity tottered.
Who's out there?
My golden vision was wearing blue jeans and a flannel shirt and was holding a rifle. She looked exactly like the photograph I'd seen of Kathy O'Dare. And the blaze of light came from an open cabin door.
Who is it? Speak up or I'll shoot.
Oh, thank heaven. Hold it, Miss Dare. It's Johnny Dollar.
Are you getting warm now?
I don't think I'll ever get warm again.
You will if you don't move away from the stove a little. The back of your shirt is starting to smoke.
Yeah, I thought I was beginning to feel something. How's the firewood?
There's plenty. And plenty of food.
And a radio. If I hadn't heard that music, I'd have blundered right on past this cabin.
Oh, we've got everything. We can hold out for a month if we have to. And I hope we have to.
What about your daughter? Is she all right?
Sure. She's fine. It's a picnic for her. A camping trip. She's sound asleep back there in the lean-to. Dreaming about Santa Claus, I suppose. I wish I could. How did you find me, Mr. Dollar?
A hunch. Guesswork. I was born under a lucky star.
I wasn't.
Oh, I don't know. I think you've been pretty lucky, considering everything. More so than your landlady back in New York.
Mrs. Grottler? What do you mean?
Betty Stark went to see her. Tried to find out where you were. When she wouldn't tell him, he broke her arm.
Oh, no. Oh, the poor woman.
Oh, it's a rough game, Miss O'Dare, trying to play it cozy with a mobster like Nick Shurn. You know, of course, that he sent Benny here to find you.
You'll have a hard time finding me in this place.
He did find you.
What?
Maybe he followed you from the house or saw you drive through town. Anyway, I ran into him back down the trail a ways.
I thought I heard shooting a while ago.
You did. He tried to ambush me. He thought he had the drop, and he wouldn't give up. I had to kill him.
There'll be another intriguing episode in our story of the Nick Shurn Matter tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the showdown. Victory, and then disaster. When a visitor to the little town of Branbury turns out to be death. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Roy Rowan speaking.
December 22nd, 1955, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A reminder that our friend Ted at RadioMemories.com has the complete lineup of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, quarter hours, and a whole bunch of the half-hour shows as well. Check it out, won't you? Cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. They're all available from Ted at RadioMemories.com. Hope you'll take a moment to visit my website, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows on demand. You can learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there. You can find our social media links. And as I said, you can also buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money goes to help us keep our classic radio theater distribution channels up and running and open. It also helps us, more importantly, to acquire additional classic radio collections. That's the Buy Me a Coffee link at classicradio.stream. By the way, there's a link on there that's labeled Extras. You click on that and you'll find some special offers that you might be able to take advantage of or might want to. classicradio.stream. Take a moment, please, to thank this radio station and support their advertisers. And the most important thing, let your friends know the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.